In this video, I'm going to give you the one big question to figure yourself out so you can live the life you've always wanted. Let's get started. This question is going to sound shockingly simple. I ask you something like this all the time in similar videos on this channel. What do you want your life to be about? What is important to you? Now pause here and reflect on anything that shows up. There's a whole category of research called values, and inside of that research, it informs how we can understand who you want to be and where you can go with your life that will be most meaningful to you. What do you want your life to be about? Who and what is most important to you? That's it. That's the one big question. But it's an important question because we can take these things for granted. You see, I want you to go with whatever implicitly shows up for you. Who and what is most important to you? If you have a young family and you say that, well, parenting, my children is important to me, or perhaps you're thinking about starting a business and being an entrepreneur is important to you. Maybe you say money, that's your sort of visceral reaction. Well, what type of a parent do you want to be? And why is money important to you? I really want you to dig down deep and actually inquire of yourself. What is most important to me and why? It's easy to take these things for granted. And it's also easy to just sort of abstractly say like, well, once I have lots of money, I'll be happy. Yeah, but what would that afford you? What would you be able to do if you were happy? If I was watching you, like if I was like your parole officer and I was following you around and I saw you living this rich, meaningful life, what would I see you doing? Just notice if your immediate reaction to me asking you who and what is most important to you is something that you take for granted. And as you dig a little deeper, as you pay attention to it, notice if you actually experience some pain. For most of us, if we haven't been engaged, if we haven't been chasing our values down, you've most likely been living a life where you're just sort of in a holding pattern. You're trying to keep things status quo. Maybe you've been spending a lot of time trying to avoid and control for what you don't want to feel. And so thinking about who and what is most important to you, thinking about the life that you want to live, actually brings up some pain for you. It makes it difficult for you to think about that and engage with that. My challenge to you is to stay with that hurt. Inside of your hurt is something that's important to you, that can actually guide the way towards what you value, towards what you want your life to be about. Ask yourself what qualities you want yourself to be about. Creativity, innovation, maybe loving and being loved. If being a parent is important to you and I ask you why, what's important about that, and you could clarify for me like, Tim, I just want to be there for my kids. That matters to me. I want to be present for them. I want to be supportive of them. Or maybe you say, I want to be encouraging of them. I want to be loving to them. Great. Connect with why that's meaningful to you. Let's try a totally different example. Think about somebody who is making a paycheck, perhaps yourself. Even though it's easy to kind of receive a paycheck and to spend that money, to allocate that money for rent or a mortgage payment, I would like to challenge you to actually ask yourself, what is it that's important to you about working? Why are you working? And maybe that seems like a weird question. Maybe I'm breaking a social convention, like, I don't know, because things cost money and because you have to work. Yes, and what is important to you in this one life that you've got on this planet? Where do you want to see yourself go? Where does your work fit into that? Maybe this brings up some really hard questions for you, like, yeah, why am I doing this job? Or why am I spending money the way that I am? I'd like to invite you to be a little more purposeful around looking at the behaviors that you engage in already, right now. Maybe the behavior of watching this video in the first place was you maybe trying to seek some alleviation to escape some of your anxiety, and maybe I've actually subverted you to this whole new acceptance-based agenda and you're saying, yeah, I need to hold my pain so that I can actually focus on what would make my life richer and bigger. That's my challenge to you, is to really connect with the life that matters to you and focus on why is it important, and really drill down. Make sure that you don't just take for granted whatever your first kind of reaction is. Ask yourself, even if that reaction comes up, why is that important to me? The concept behind authoring our values, being purposeful about what we want our lives to be about, can organize your behavior in a way where it becomes more and more delicious as time goes on. It's not simply about the right here, right now, just passively taking what we can get, living in a world of immediate gratification. And man, isn't that easy to do, to just spend your time living with immediate gratification? It feels good now. and you get to mortgage your future for it. Because we work off of this short-term immediate gratification, it can become very easy to focus on outcomes, meaning if I do this now, what is the outcome immediately? If I have a mosquito itch now and I scratch it, which I'm not supposed to be doing, but it alleviates the itch immediately, but does it move me congruently with what I want my life to be about in the long term? That's what you need to be asking yourself. Rather than focusing on the paycheck now, how do you want to invest in you for the long term? Let's break down some behaviors that can actually help you chase your values and have that bigger, more delicious life. So let's think about one thing that's really important to you. Identify that off in the distance value. So for me, this channel is about me sharing this amazing work of ACT, acceptance and commitment training, with you, making it relevant to you, making it helpful to people that I've never even met. What are some behaviors that I would be engaging to actually do that? Well, you'd see me down here, setting up the camera, recording some video. You'd see me on the channel responding to your comments, responding to your emails, actually engaging with you, and coming up with new ideas for content, playing around with ideas. Now, in the short term, this is actually not very reinforcing. Talking to a camera where I can't see you, I don't see you nodding your head or smiling or being like, Tim, yes, this concept is really rocking my world right now. That's not reinforcing. I'm talking to a camera. It's like totally dead. There's no feedback here whatsoever. Instead, my value, the direction that I'm chasing, is that I want to make this content for you. That's important to me. And so this process actually becomes, in and of itself, eventually reinforcing. It becomes delicious in and of itself. The trick for you right now is going to be breaking down little behaviors that are going to move you in that direction until it starts becoming self-reinforcing. Some of my friends have created a really cool values diary. You can check it out in the description below. It's a really great way to track your behavior and make sure that you're doing things that are congruent with your values over the long term. Make it public. Throw it down in the comments below. Who and what is most important to you? And maybe even give us an idea of some behaviors that you can start engaging in the short term, long term, and even further there out that will move you to chase those values. What I'm asking you to do is to break a little bit of a social convention here by asking you to drop whatever might be distracting you and to focus on what is more juicy and delicious off in the distance. What are your values? What do you want to be chasing in the long term? Who and what matters to you? Don't forget to hit the like button to show your support. Definitely share this video because you never know who in your world could benefit from this work, and definitely subscribe. It keeps you updated on all the latest content from this channel. Thank you so much.